Have you ever been to a place that gave you the creeps? Did it leave such an impression on you that it haunted you in your dreams? If not, then you should visit some of the places mentioned below. However, if you want to have a peaceful sleep, it's best to stay away from these creepy places. So, here are some places you should avoid at all costs. Number 10. Why 40 Deep Pool? Not all scary places are found on land. If you have a fear of deep water, also known as thalassophobia, then you might want to avoid this pool in Italy. This pool, called the Y 40 Deep Joy, is the deepest swimming pool in the world, with a depth of 40 meters, which is equivalent to a 14-story building turned upside down. The pool was originally built in 2014 for diving training. However, many divers who have tried to reach the bottom have passed out due to the rapid change in water pressure, which can cause a condition called the bends. This is definitely not a place to go for a leisurely swim. Even watching someone brave the terrifying drop without breathing apparatus is enough to make most people say, no. Number 9. Nagoro. Creepy dolls have been cropping up in horror movies for decades. But what if I told you there was a village out there where life-size dolls have almost replaced humans altogether? This living nightmare exists in the small village of Nagoro in the valleys of Shikoku, Japan, which was once home to a happy, lively community. But when local resident Tsukimi Ayano returned to Nagoro and realized most of her old friends hadn't died or moved away, she began recreating them in the form of life-size doll replicas to ease her own loneliness. Nowadays, if you happen to visit this village and approach someone for directions, it's far more likely that there will be a lifeless doll rather than a real person, as the doll population now stands at around 350 against 27 remaining inhabitants around the village and its surrounding areas. These human dolls can be found doing everyday things like waiting at the bus stop, attending classes at an abandoned school, heading out for a cycle, or just generally minding their own creepy business. Whether you find this story heartwarming or deeply unsettling, I guess you could say this is one close-knit community. Number 8. The Door to Hell. This particular geological formation is known as the Darvaza gas crater, but most people call it the Door to Hell. It's located in the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan and was formed in 1971 when Soviet scientists were drilling for oil and accidentally hit a methane reserve, which caused their drilling platform to collapse. In an effort to fix the situation, they decided to set the crater on fire to burn off the methane, and it has been burning ever since. This fiery sinkhole is about the size of a football pitch and is likely to burn until the remaining gas deposits feeding the flames run out. Despite its ominous name and appearance, it is safe to visit if you want to see it for yourself. Number 7. Centralia, Pennsylvania. The town of Centralia in Pennsylvania was once home to a busy community who mostly worked in its prosperous coal mines from the 1800s to the 1960s. But nowadays, if you look the town up online, you'll probably find it's also known under a different name, the Burning Ghost Town. The origins of this less than pleasant nickname stem back to a mysterious fire which occurred in one of the mines in 1962, before quickly spreading through a series of underground tunnels. At first, residents took little notice of the incident until gas station owners began reporting alarmingly high gasoline temperatures. And in 1981, a boy almost died falling into a 45-meter sinkhole which had opened up in his own backyard. Huge cracks then appeared on the streets and under houses, trees became white and petrified, and people complained of breathing problems. And soon enough, almost everyone had fled the town completely. This near-ghost town is now only home to around 7 residents who have been permitted to live the rest of their lives there before the area is shut down for good. To this day, smoke containing deadly carbon monoxide billows from fissures which tore through roads and sidewalks, and authorities have estimated that the raging fire below the ground will continue to burn for another 250 years, giving the door to hell a run for its money. Number 6. Sedlec Ossuary. The Sedlec Ossuary in Kutna-Hora, Czech Republic, is more ominously known as the Church of Bones. Originating from the 1300s, It houses the remains of 40,000 to 70,000 people, artistically arranged to create a setting reminiscent of a Tim Burton film. The tale begins in 1298 when an abbot, returning from Jerusalem with a bit of sacred soil, sprinkled it across the Sedlec cemetery, making it an exceedingly sought-after burial site. As the number of individuals wishing to be buried there surged, the already interred had to be exhumed and stored in an ossuary constructed for this purpose. However, the bones were not merely stacked. Czech woodcarver František Rindt was commissioned to transform them into eye-catching designs. Within the ossuary, visitors can marvel at a coat of arms crafted entirely from bones, decorative garlands of human skulls, and the showstopper, a chandelier composed of every bone in the human body. This eerily beautiful masterpiece is not just a feat of artistic interior design, but also an unconventional choice for a wedding venue for those embracing a Gothic aesthetic. Number 5. Hanging coffins. If the idea of being transformed into a chandelier or candle holder doesn't align with your afterlife preferences, perhaps consider a more traditional yet striking alternative: resting in a coffin secured to the side of a towering cliff. This ancient burial practice is common among the Igorot tribe in the mountain province and Sagada in the Philippines, who have been elevating their deceased loved ones rather than burying them underground for over 2,000 years. This venerable tradition is thought to bring the deceased closer to their ancestral spirits and shield their bodies from the rigors of natural decay. Typically, the coffins are no more than 1 meter in length, custom designed by the future occupant prior to their passing. This small size isn't due to the shrinking of old age, but rather because the deceased are placed in the fetal position, a process that sometimes requires breaking their bones to ensure they fit. The burial ceremony usually includes several animal sacrifices, and during the procession, the body is handed from one villager to another, in the hope that sacred bodily fluids will be shared among the community. It's a profound way to bid farewell, and it certainly gives one pause. Perhaps cremation might be simpler after all. Number 4. Hashima Island. Abandoned building site hospitals and warehouses can be spooky enough, but this entire island in Japan looks like everyone just up sticks and left one day, and that's because they kind of did. Hashima Island, otherwise known as Battleship Island because of its warship-like appearance when viewed from above, was once an industrial powerhouse used for undersea coal mining between 1887 and 1974. At one point, over 5,200 people lived and worked on the island, but the workers and their families probably vacated in 1974 after reserves suddenly depleted, leaving it untouched for 3 decades. Nowadays, it is the world's largest abandoned city, and its graying skeletal buildings and moss-covered grounds make it look like a video game map come to life. No, that's missing it as zombies. Its eerie appearance isn't the only thing making this one terrifying location, though, as the island is also steeped in a sinister history. During World War II, countless Korean and Chinese prisoners of war were forced into labor at the mines, and over 1,000 workers died during the 1930s as a result of harsh conditions and maltreatment. This horrifying past has led many to claim that the island is haunted, and a quick tour of the ruins using Google Street View is probably enough to make you believe it too. Number 3. Veijo Runkonen Sculpture Garden. Tucked away in a forest near Purakalo in Finland, there lies a chillingly unique garden, the Avio Rocket and Sculpture Garden, home to more than 550 strikingly eerie statues that border on the lifelike. This garden was the brainchild of an unassuming postal worker and lifelong recluse who filled his space with an array of bizarre figures without any intention of commercial gain. After his passing in 2010, a Finnish businessman acquired the property and opened it to the public, allowing visitors to explore and contemplate these peculiar sculptures, some of which were crafted over 50 years ago. The statues themselves are a haunting assortment, with many set in mysterious yoga stances and others resembling disturbing humanoids, featuring deep-set eyes and actual human teeth. The garden is a haven for spiders and hosts some exceptionally odd scenes, including an eyeless cloaked figure emerging from the undergrowth, sinister-looking women hunched over wash basins, a scene of a boy being whipped, and a severed head that pours water into a pond. Personally, I shudder to think of this garden under the cover of nightfall. Number 2. Gas Mask Island. This image looks so dystopian that it's hard to believe it isn't a total work of fiction. In fact, the horde of masked figures in this downright post-apocalyptic scene are residents of Miyakojima Island in Japan, which is also known as Gas Mask Island. There's actually a pretty legitimate reason behind this terrifying dress code, though. As Miyakojima is located at the base of Mount Oyama, an active volcano which has erupted several times throughout history. As a result, the entire population is at constant risk of falling victim to poisonous ash clouds flooding the island with sulfur dioxide at any time. To combat this threat, all residents are required to carry gas masks on them, listening out for sirens in case of a gas emergency, meaning that the entire island occasionally looks like an extended episode of Doctor Who. This terrifying problem got so bad in the year 2000 that the entire island was evacuated until 2005, when 2,800 brave people chose to return. If you are looking at either night in this unconventional getup anytime soon, then I suggest you steer well clear of Miyakojima. Number 1. The Strid. The Bolton Strid, a picturesque stream in Yorkshire, England, may look like a perfect spot for a Sunday afternoon picnic, but it is, in fact, a deadly death trap. The Strid has earned its reputation thanks to a dangerous combination of super-fast currents and hidden rocks capable of dragging someone underwater and knocking them unconscious in an instant. Due to its narrow width and seemingly leisurely appearance, many have attempted to jump across the stream, but make one wrong move and fall in, and it's unlikely you'll ever be seen again. No one who has entered the water has ever made it out alive, sometimes not even their bodies. In 1998, a honeymoon couple drowned in the Strid, and their bodies were not recovered until a month later, 10 miles downstream. The Strid seems to be capable of devouring just about anything unlucky enough to slip beneath its murky depths. This picture-perfect postcard location is actually the stuff of nightmares and certainly isn't anywhere you want to take a cautious dip anytime soon. What do you think about these eerie places? Would you visit any if given the chance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching.